Yo! Hello out there, all you beautiful humans. Thanks for tuning in here to this weekend edition, Sunday evening, Mother's Day. Shout out to all you mothers out there trying to keep our children safe in this crazy, crazy world. And shout out to my notification crew, filling up the chat box I see, getting here early. Thanks for all you guys watching on the replay. So we're going to hang out here for a little while. There's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. I want to get this video in before, of course, this crazy week that I'm sure is going to be exciting we have coming up. We got some new Q to discuss. Good stuff. Q is back, posting again. So we'll take a look at the couple posts that were made. And then we'll take a look at a lot of these attacks by the mainstream media against Q. Got some hit pieces by bunch of different mainstream media outlets in recent days. So we'll take a look at those, and I want to talk vaccines, and I want to talk, let's see, what do I have on the list here? We'll talk NXIVM, that LA gun bust, that shooting in Colorado. Lots of stuff on this one. So, to begin, yes, y'all, where you from? Iowa City, Vermont, Alberta, International tuning in. Thank you. South Carolina, Chicago, Portugal. Yes. The home of Cristiano Ronaldo. Thanks, everybody. All right, so to begin, just want to remind you, jordansather.com. Go there. You can sign up for my newsletter. You can take a look at the swag I got, what I got for sale, links to events I'll be at, and various whatnot on there. And then Patreon. Thank you to my Patreon folks graciously donating to me every month on Patreon. I don't do, again, any sort of specific content on there, but I just have fun. I do giveaways, I do announcements, things like that. People who subscribe to my Patreon get first dibs on various things. There's some giveaways I did, so there's that. Make a little card, pop up, and then word to a sponsor of this channel, that is Virtual Shield. Virtual Shield's a VPN, virtual private network service, and in this day and age, that is very, very helpful. If you're not familiar with what a VPN is, you can basically, number one, hide your IP address. So when you're surfing the web, your data is private, it's encrypted. You can, websites won't be able to track your IP address and then, track your data. And you can also change your IP address, so go around censorship. You can unblock censorship with a VPN too. And with how many websites are getting censored these days, 8chan. It's important. It's important to be able to free yourself up, to be able to access information that you might need to. So check out Virtual Shield. Super special going on with Memorial Day for only $3 a month. Just over that, you can check in the description below for the links to them. So let's check out now New Q. Yes, I see a lot of you guys in the chat. New Q. I'm actually going to refresh this because I think they're posting right now. All right, we've got 4 of them. Back after a 10-day break. Good to see you, Q. Boom week ahead. Treason doesn't play well in the end. No, it doesn't. So, big happenings we're expecting here in May. Big happenings. Next, drop. Q linking Representative Doug Collins' Twitter. Eyes on. So keep track of this guy, what's coming from him this week, his Twitter. He has really been trying to shine a light on what's going on with those FISA abuses. Found this article from Breitbart where they're featuring Doug Collins saying Democrats afraid Barr could find explosive FISA abuse. And Collins has been sounding the alarm on how the deep state, call it Democrats if you want, what have you, but they're trying to light up Attorney General Barr now, throw him under the bus, try to, make up any excuse they can to delay the inevitable. But it's moving right along. And speaking of which, did you see Rod Rosenstein's send-off late last week? Rod Rosenstein leaving the DOJ. So all these guys got together to send him off. And let me tell you, let me ask you, does that look like a group of gentlemen that don't like each other? Or does this look like a group of individuals that all played a part in a sort of plan, maybe in a giant sting operation that we're going to be hearing about for years to come? Interesting thoughts with that one. But we're on to the next. And May coming up here. So Inspector General report, declassify FISA. weeks, if not days, till explosive things are happening. This next drop, attempts by Dems, fake news, and those guilty of treason to shape the public narrative prior to the dropping of what we're expecting by providing lies, falsehoods, misinformation will fail. Truth to light. No sleep in D.C. tonight. Sorry, Swamp. And then Q basically reposting, what we call it retweeting on Twitter, rechanting this meme by an anon of a Moab dropping. It's going to be a good week, y'all. So we went through that. Doug Collins, these articles. Let's take a look at these attacks against QAnon in the mainstream media. So, yeah, it is a big mug. I like my coffee. I like my tea. And I like to stay hydrated. So, there's been this story going around in the mainstream media last couple of days, and it's about this school, this organization in Grass Valley, California, and they were holding a fundraiser, right? Now, apparently, there was an individual who took Comey's tweet. I'm actually just going to show you Comey's tweet first. We'll start there and reverse engineer the situation from there. So, this individual on Twitter essentially did this decode. And remember, when you have researchers or Q followers, whatever the case, they do their decodes, and it's a subjective thing. It's whatever they're sort of seeing and analyzing for themselves. So remember, it's subjective, okay? And maybe some of them are more on target. Maybe some of them are kind of off the wall a little bit, you know? But this particular one, this individual took Comey's tweet and sort of found a hidden word, what looked like to them a hidden word, 5 jihadis, and then the first capitalized letter of each of these lines, 5 jobs I've had, grocery store clerk, GVCSF, and I guess connected that to the Grass Valley Charter School Foundation that was holding an event at the Nevada County Fairgrounds on May 11th, all right? So, on one hand, we know these deep state folks, these cabal members, they communicate via vague means on social media. That's not out of the picture, out of the ordinary, you know? Definitely within the realm of possibility. But is this a true decode? Again, that's subjective. Maybe, maybe not. So, because this decode went somewhat viral, it got some play, apparently, this Charter Valley School, this foundation got wind that this essentially decode or this meme was spreading around, this information, and they decided to close the fundraiser. Now, because they canceled this fundraiser, the mainstream media utilized this situation to then, of course, attack Q. You know, any in they have to throw shade on QAnon, paint Q followers as crazy, violent, etc., they're going to take. And they did take this one. Now, in these media articles, they were saying that this Grass Valley School Foundation got a call from essentially unnamed. I couldn't find any deeper information on it, but we're getting calls about this saying that they should close, and that's, I guess, what scared them to close. So in my mind, you know, the mainstream media is trying to paint this as crazy QAnon conspiracy theorists. We're trying to quote, protect the school, but it's just crazy people and their tinfoil hats, blah, blah. I'm thinking some individual might have saw this and was trying to take advantage of the situation in order to attack QAnon, attack the movement and the idea behind it, right? So what I'm saying is maybe a deep state connected individual saw this and said, oh man, we have an opportunity to scare the school foundation into closing. And then, great, that'll be some negative publicity against Q that we really, really want. So, I don't know. It's an odd decode to me. I wouldn't necessarily have seen that. But it is good to track these sorts of things. You know, not saying that's not a good thing to do, but who knows the backstory behind this all. But point being is people who follow QAnon aren't crazy. They're not violent conspiracy theorists. And it's a sad thing. Sad thing this fundraiser had to close. But I highly doubt it was an actual QAnon follower who called the place up to warn them. I think there might have been just somebody trying to take advantage. And then the New York Times, of all outlets, of all websites, took the opportunity to run their own version of this story today. They really tried to, of course, paint the conspiracy theories being crazy. What's funny is in the New York Times version of this, they did not even mention Q. They didn't say QAnon at all. They left that out of it. It's as if QAnon's getting so popular that they're trying to discredit it without even naming it because they don't want to direct more people to it. But then of all people, the New York Times goes to interview for this is Mike Rothschild, that Daily Dot writer, right? Mike Rothschild, where is he? Oh, geez. They interviewed him towards the end of this article. There you go. And he's a prolific troll on Twitter, running in with bunch of his friends. They all peruse the same threads and say all the same rhetoric. And sad writer for the Daily Dot who's been trying to discredit conspiracy theories with a bunch of lies, a bunch of propaganda for a while now. But there you go. There's what's coming out of mainstream media attacking Q in recent days. It's all nonsense. And now let's take a look at that Colorado shooting. So, tragic situation coming out of Colorado. Last week, suspects carried out a mass shooting there, Denver area school. Okay? Now, let me just say, Denver, creepy place. A lot of weird stuff around Denver. Been there a few times, weird energies. Of course, you got the weird airport. You got a lot of military-industrial complex that's based out of Colorado. I've heard there's a lot of weird cult activity that goes on there in Denver area and Colorado Springs. So it's just odd, we've had mass shootings in the area before. So it makes me think that there are secret society connected groups, probably some really bad stuff going on in the area. Now, when I take a look at this suspect who appeared in court after the shooting, and you look at the guy, what does that make me think of? What does it make you think of? Well, looks a lot like this guy. Paints his hair, looks just traumatized as heck in court. I mean, what sorts of groups are these kids connected to? What sort of networks are these individuals connected to? Or their psychiatrists. Who are their psychiatrists really connected to? Who are their psychiatrists, period? So, yeah, I'm thinking some sort of false flag, getting the false flag vibes with this one most definitely. But good news with this situation is that the students in Colorado there that were attending the school shooting vigil, they stood up, literally, walked out of that vigil saying that they did not want their trauma to be politicized. So a lot of them, you can see the video here, just getting up, walking out. That's fantastic. You can't bullshit a lot of these kids these days. They get born here tuned in. And, it's unfortunate on one hand that the youth get so much BS, so much propaganda and nonsense thrown at them because they're on their phones so much and watching this and that. But at the same time, we do need to have, and we should have, a lot of hope for the future. These kids. I'm semi-young. Even the ones younger than me, they're going to be way more activated. It's going to be beautiful. So these kids getting up, walking out, it's good to see. Now let's move on to the LA gun bust. This is mind-blowing. Saw this video of the gun bust just a couple hours after it happened. I was shocked. So check this out. Massive cache of 1,000 guns. They had a variety of weapons, AKs, old school Tommy guns, World War II style, pistols, all sorts of stuff. And these guns were seized from a mansion. We're talking mansion. This was in the Holmby Hills area, which the Playboy Mansion is right down the street. I read that when this gun bust was happening, there were actually tour vans, taking people right by this scene as they were going to the Playboy Mansion. And who lived right down the block. I believe Jay-Z, Beyonce, like right down the street. It's incredible. Huge homes. And this particular mansion was connected to the Getty family of all families. Okay? Amazingly wealthy family. The woman that owned this house was married to a Getty. And she owns like some 20 or 30 properties. She's got multiple of them. So this is big. This is a massive high-level bust of arms trafficking. So this is very important. And who's this woman connected to? I've seen a lot of people theorizing Fast and Furious. The Fast and Furious scandal a few years ago. Could this be connected to that in some way, shape, or form? So yeah, that's a lot of guns. That's a lot of guns. So this is very good, right? Very, it's news that's letting us know that things are absolutely happening. Things are happening. It's just there's so much crap to clean up. Of course, we got a swamp in D.C., but a lot of these rat lines extend worldwide. Trafficking of all sorts of stuff. Arms, humans, drugs, technology. So it's happening. Surely is, folks. Day by day. NXIVM. Another thing that's happening, another thing going on, and we've got some court cases that have recently been occurring late last week, and lots of stuff coming public about that. So in these court deliberations, some people were testifying for the first time. We had some evidence being shown that was pretty disturbing, but hey, it's a disturbing world. The more courage you have to face that darkness, to face the nastiness in the world, the more appreciation you have for what is beautiful. And, it's that polarized world we live in, that contrast. It's key in some ways. But anyway, video shows NXIVM cult leader preaching about sex with children. Yeah. So, disturbing video being shown Wednesday at his sex trafficking trial. Remember, Rainier's basically the only guy left. So a lot of other folks in this trial have turned or giving up information. That means Allison Mack. That means Bronfman too, I believe. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But Keith Rainier is the last one that's fighting this. So all this evidence is coming public about it. We have testimony coming public as well from a individual going by the name Sylvie, to protect her identity, but she was giving her own testimony about being blackmailed, ritually humiliated, and branded, almost branded. This woman luckily escaped it just in time, but of course she knew people that were branded. They were trying to get her to go to one of the branding sessions, and she gives her testimony about Rainier basically humiliating her, doing weird sexual acts, and some stuff about the weird cult vibes getting from NXIVM. So this is coming to light, dark to light, truly. And isn't it incredible? All these Q shills out there trying to say, oh, Q's a cult, or you see it in the UFO community. Oh, this cult, that cult. But most of the time, point that finger right around, it's them themselves projecting. They're the ones actually giving off that cult-like vibe. And we're the ones trying to expose the real cults here. What's going on with NXIVM? What kind of cults we got in LA, in Denver, around the world? Secret societies that extend to the top. But luckily, they aren't quite as empowered anymore as they used to be. Now, let's move on to talk vaccines. Vaccines and big pharma. So, got a lot to discuss there. First of all, vaccines being called sorcery. Texas lawmaker tells vaccine expert and pediatrician they're sorcery. And this is hilarious. So, first of all, Texas is one of the states in the country that is sort of a shining light when it comes to vaccine freedoms right now. We got a lot of states that are trying to pass through state legislation removing vaccine exemptions. Washington State, the idiot governor Inslee here just signed through a bill removing some exemptions. Of course, California, Denver, multiple states around the country trying to remove exemptions. Texas is trying to make it easier to get exemptions. They're actually there's a state bill going through Texas right now trying to make it mandatory for doctors to see unvaccinated individuals. Because right now, any doctor, really any state, can deny you service for being unvaccinated. It's within their right. So Texas is trying to make it mandatory. They're trying to make it illegal for doctors to refuse you if you're unvaccinated. That's very good. And we got some Texas lawmakers who are pretty woke to this topic, calling it sorcery. And it kind of is. It is sorcery. Yes, let's inject these poisons into your arm, these heavy metals, these preservatives, these aborted fetal cells, and nanoparticles, mycoplasma, who knows what else. Let's inject it right into your blood and hope it stimulates your immune system. Hope it makes you healthier. Let's hope that it doesn't harm you in any way. That is some sorcery that they're trying to cook up. Truly. So this Texas lawmaker was calling out Peter Hotez. That's his name, Dr. Peter Hotez. And Peter Hotez is like the new shill in the pro-vax movement. This dude has been paraded all around the mainstream media. He's a doctor out of Baylor. Of course, having that white lab coat and fancy plaque on your wall calling you a doctor, sometimes it doesn't mean much, okay? Look at their words, look at their actions. And the actions of this doctor, Dr. Peter Hotez, are despicable, disgusting. He's a total shill. Just look at him on Joe Rogan. Peter Hotez did an interview on Joe Rogan, and this guy was like, he looked so unhealthy. He looked greasy. And his hair, his face, he didn't look healthy. He literally said that he doesn't give much thought into nutrition or exercise on Joe Rogan. Just watch the interview. It was like incredible. But he's the new Paul Offit. He's their new pro-vax shill they're parading around. One of the many they have. Paul Offit. What's his name? Z-Dog. Z, and well, I forget his name, but he's on Facebook quite a bit. They got their guys. Hotez is one of them. Texas lawmaker called him out, and mainstream media here took the opportunity to attack as they do. Instagram will begin blocking hashtags that return anti-vaccination information. Truth be spreading too much. Spreads like wildfire these days, especially with social media. So there you go. Instagram blocking hashtags that return anti-vax info. I got my first post censored from Instagram today. Didn't have to do with vaccines. Had to do with space, actually. Funny enough. But pulling out the stops. And next, Politico. This article is pretty sad, not going to lie. RFK Jr. is our brother and uncle, but he's tragically wrong about vaccines. Tragically wrong about vaccines. So RFK Jr. has been doing some good work, in my opinion, trying to sound the alarm about children being harmed by vaccines and the vaccine injury court and the fact that these corporations are literally not held liable for their products. So he's been doing work on that. And his own family here, Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, Joseph Kennedy II, his own family wrote this article that Politico decided to print and saying he's tragically wrong about vaccines. So if they can't censor you, if their shills aren't working, their vaccine shills, they're going to write articles simply calling you wrong, again, calling you a crazy conspiracy theorist with the tinfoil hat on your head. It's absolutely absurd. And this is sad, his own family saying these things. So you got to feel for RFK Jr. right now. And then it's all the same rhetoric, man. World Health Organization rhetoric. Establishment medicine, establishment science rhetoric. Yeah, the World Health Organization that partners with what? The Gates Foundation all the time. The Gates Foundation that has how many millions of dollars in vaccine programs around the world and genetically engineered food programs around the world. It's exactly who I want to listen to, right? Talk about special interest. My God, it's incredible. I'm going to say that word 100 times this broadcast. Another piece of news. This one, good news. Trump administration wants to shame Big Pharma into lowering drug prices. So let's talk about the story. We'll talk about the spin. Story first. Trump administration will require drug companies to disclose the price of drugs in television ads. Why hasn't this been happening already? I mean, how many ads do we get out there? for freaking drugs. They don't list the prices. Of course, they the way I love marketing. You study marketing, and it's incredible how awful a lot of marketers and their marketing is. It's just terrible. And figuring out how to do it in an honest way is what's crucial. But why hasn't this been happening already? So great. I'm actually a big fan of that, requiring drug companies to disclose the price of drugs in television ads. That's why the industry is not happy. Industry group arguing people won't seek necessary medical care if they see list prices. Yeah, because all the drugs we see the ads for are necessary. That's a bunch of bullshit. So Big Pharma not happy. Let's take a look at the spin. So this is the spin that CNBC tried to write with this, and a lot of these mainstream media outlets parroting the narrative for their Big Pharma corporate masters are saying the same thing. Trump administration shaming Big Pharma into lowering drug prices. Shaming! As if the Trump admin is doing a bad thing. They label it as Big Pharma to try to get that conspiracy narrative in there for their readers. Well, shit, Big Pharma needs to be shamed, okay? There's plenty of stuff they need to be shamed for. Much worse stuff than not disclosing their drug prices and having expensive drugs. So, yeah, that's good news. You know, the Trump administration, I think they're doing what they can against Big Pharma right now. A lot of people are angry. Yes, I know, about Trump and his vaccine comments and whatnot, which a lot of stuff we could talk about that. We can get into the multi-dimensional aspects of it, if you will. But I think Big Pharma is going to become much more of a second-term agenda for him because there's a lot of other stuff going on, things that have to happen first. Once FISA happens, that'll open the door to getting some of these folks behind bars. The public's awareness cracking, their consciousness cracking with that, them getting opened up to, you know, deeper things they'll be able to accept. And then second term comes, a lot of bigger stuff can happen. So I think it will happen, folks. And then last thing, oh, we got a flat earther in the comments. Hold on. Censor that. Put user in timeout. Yeah, timeout for flat earth in the comments. Anyway, last article here. I just want to talk about that sunscreen news. I'm going to drop a little bit of health knowledge on y'all here, a little bit of perspective. So, sunscreen enters the bloodstream after just 1 day of use, study says. So, you know, we hear a study say something, you got to accept it immediately. Them studies know all. So, yeah, sunscreen entering the blood after just 1 day of use. Understand, guys, anything you put on your skin enters your skin immediately, like that. Your skin is the largest organ of your body. Anything you put on it can absorb transdermally. So, yes, sunscreen entering the blood after just 1 day of use. Anything you put on your skin does. Makeup, lotions, etc. Now, we need the sun, okay? I personally don't use sunscreen all that much because we need the sun. Its rays are healthy for us. We can't produce vitamin D if we block the ultraviolet rays from entering our skin. The problem is when those rays hit your skin is oxidation occurs, and that's what causes problems. So what do? You want antioxidants, okay? Protecting your skin protecting your body, getting healthy isn't going to happen if you put a bunch of toxic shit on your skin, right? So eat antioxidants. If you want to make healthy skin, do it internally first. Internally. Out. Then you can worry about what you put on it. So eat a bunch of antioxidants. Yay? Make sure you eat antioxidants and you'll be fine. Okay. It's as if some people think God or nature, whatever you want to call it, put the sun there to give us cancer and kill us. Why are you afraid of it? Eat fine. Your skin will be fine. You can be out under the sun. And you might get a little burned. I've gotten burned this year pretty good. A couple weeks ago when I was on the big island of Hawaii, but I ate well. My skin was fine. And if you do need a little bit of SPF, you can do natural, say, coconut oils or seed oils or whatnot. Not chemically, synthetically processed. Get a little bit of natural SPF and some protection there if you need it. So there's some thoughts on sunscreen for y'all. Some of these articles are pretty ridiculous. They're saying, still use it with all these chemicals in it. Still use the sunscreen. You need it. No, you don't need it. Actually, A lot of these products we're putting on our skins, like lotions and sunscreens or whatnot, are screwing your hormones up. They're called xenoestrogens. Xeno in Latin means foreign. Foreign estrogens. We're just lathering all over ourselves. So if you really want to be a healthy man, healthy woman, healthy mother, Mother's Day, protect your hormones, Awareness is key, especially self-awareness. Know thyself. The more you know about the little ingredients in your drinks, in your food, in your products, in your life, just everything, the more you understand about how it affects you, how it's made itself, what company made it, who that company's owned by, where they're from, where they got it from, what it's doing to you, where it's going to go when it's out of you, etc., etc. A lot of stuff to be aware of. The more you're aware of all that, the better chance you have of being a good functioning human being. Good for yourself, good for the environment, good for the planet and society itself. So that's all, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here this evening. How long was I going for? Only a half hour. Not bad. We got through everything I wanted to. Hashtag disclosure challenge. Let me do some super chats before I sign off. When I go through a lot of these articles, I miss them over here. Disclosure challenge. Best article and video list. For what? By topic? That might be a good article. Go through topic, I want to get into blogging more. I'll do that. I want to be writing articles and ebooks and blogs and whatnot. Nathan said, haven't used sunscreen since he was a kid. Good stuff, man. Your hormones are probably doing better than some. Can MMS cure stage 4 colon cancer? No. I don't think any one particular compound, chemical, whatever the case, is a cure, okay? That 4-letter C word, cure, can be a dangerous one. To me, the cure for disease is consciousness, is awareness. Again, understanding what all this is doing to you, what your habits are doing to you, what good protocol you should be following for this or that, etc. So, can an MMS be utilized in a protocol that could benefit you? I surely think so. I've used it before because I figured it would benefit me. I feel it has. Do your own research. Always do your own research. And that looks like all the super chats for this evening. Thank you, my friends. Be back soon. Appreciate you. Stay woke, folks.